At the lowest level inside the CIA, you don't matter. You're replaceable. If something goes wrong, you're the first one blamed. There are no dramatic missions, no cinematic moments. You sit at a desk, you read, you analyze, you write reports that most people will never know existed. And yet, the information you handle could determine whether a war starts, whether an attack is prevented, or whether a government collapses quietly behind the scenes. You begin as an analyst. Your world is screens, intercepted communications, satellite images, financial trails, and behavioral patterns. You look for anomalies, tiny irregularities that suggest something bigger is forming. 10 to 14 hours a day, you connect dots that don't want to be connected. When you're right, no one celebrates. When you're wrong, the consequences can echo globally. You are intelligent, highly educated, trained to think critically under pressure, but you are still replaceable. There are thousands of people who could do what you do. Your value comes from precision, not visibility. If you prove yourself, you may move beyond the desk. Now you're no longer just studying events, you're influencing them. As a case officer, you operate overseas. Your job isn't to kick down doors, it's to build trust. You identify individuals with access to valuable information and convince them to share it. Sometimes that means appealing to ideology. Sometimes it means money. Sometimes it means exploiting resentment or fear. Every conversation is calculated. Every meeting could be monitored. Every handshake could be a setup. You operate under a cover identity. Different names, different background. A life that isn't technically yours. You learn to read people quickly. Who's nervous? Who's lying? Who's desperate? You develop relationships that exist entirely in the shadows. If an asset is exposed, their life could be over. If you're exposed, your career likely is too. There is no applause, no public acknowledgement. Success means nothing happens. Failure means international headlines. Above that level exists a smaller, quieter group, the paramilitary side. These are the operatives who work where official war hasn't been declared. Former special operations soldiers, tactical experts, individuals trained for high-risk environments. They don't wear uniforms that identify them. Their missions are deniable. If captured, their government may not publicly claim them. Their presence in certain regions may never be officially acknowledged. They conduct operations designed to shape events without leaving fingerprints. Training local forces, gathering intelligence in hostile terrain, supporting objectives that will never be discussed openly. The stakes are higher. The margin for error is smaller. You operate knowing that recognition will never come and that anonymity is protection. Climb higher, and the battlefield shifts again. As a station chief, you're no longer running individual assets. You're managing an entire country's intelligence operations. You coordinate case officers. You evaluate risks. You decide which operations move forward and which are shut down. You interact with ambassadors, foreign officials, and sometimes leaders whose public image is carefully constructed. You balance intelligence objectives with diplomatic consequences. One miscalculation could strain alliances or destabilize fragile regions. You feel the weight differently now. It's not about personal risk. It's about strategic impact. Every decision affects not just individuals, but policy, stability, relationships between nations. At the very top sits leadership, the people who brief presidents and advise policymakers. They don't gather intelligence personally. They interpret it. They decide what matters and what doesn't, what gets escalated, what remains classified. They understand that information is leverage. In a world shaped by perception, the selective release of truth can be more powerful than force. Here, power is silent. There are no dramatic announcements, no public credit. The higher you go, the less visible you become. At the bottom, you might crave recognition. At the top, invisibility is survival. Influence operates best when it isn't obvious. And that's the paradox of power inside the CIA. The entry level feels small and mechanical, yet it feeds everything above it. The middle levels feel dangerous and unpredictable, yet they rely on patience more than aggression. The highest levels feel distant from the field, yet they shape outcomes that alter history. Most people imagine intelligence work as constant action. In reality, it's constant calculation. It's understanding human behavior, predicting reactions, and staying 3 steps ahead in a game where the board is never fully visible. It's knowing that success often looks like nothing happened at all. At the lowest level, you're disposable. At the highest level, you're untouchable. But at every level, the currency is the same. Information. Because in a world driven by uncertainty, the person who understands what's really happening holds the advantage, even if no one ever knows their name. In the shadowed corridors of power, the CIA operates like a hidden clockwork machine. Each door hides a world of discipline, secrecy, and quiet tension. The agents you never see, the analysts whose names will never appear in headlines, are the ones shaping the course of events thousands of miles away. From the moment you enter, the environment is disorienting. Rules are unwritten, protocols are layered, and every decision carries unseen consequences. New recruits quickly realize that intelligence is less about action and more about perception, learning to see patterns where others see noise, to hear warnings in silence, and to trust instincts that defy logic. The organization is vast, yet every movement, every memo, every interaction is connected. It is a place where knowledge is power, patience is survival, and what you don't know can be fatal. Here the game is invisible, and the stakes are nothing less than history itself. And yet, despite the structure, despite the hierarchy, there is always chaos lurking beneath the surface. Every decision, every analysis, every classified memo carries weight far beyond its apparent significance. A single misstep can ripple outward, imperceptible at first, then with the force of a storm. At the same time, brilliance is often invisible, quiet insight, carefully cataloged patterns, and observations that no one outside the room will ever know exist. The system thrives not on spectacle, but on subtlety. In the offices where the walls are lined with encrypted screens and classified dossiers, you see the machinery of influence at work. Each operator is a node in a network that stretches across continents, pulling strings in ways that leave the public none the wiser. A whispered warning in one city triggers preparations thousands of miles away. A single report folded into a broader analysis can redirect the course of diplomacy, military action, or global markets. The intelligence world is both omnipresent and invisible, its impact measured not in applause, but in the quiet prevention of disaster. And yet, for all the precision, the system is still human. Ambition, fear, pride, and error thread through every level. The low-level analysts may tire of endless repetition, yet their work feeds the decisions of those who sit in rooms no camera can enter. The mid-level officer navigates pressure and risk with patience, knowing the smallest insight can become leverage for a lifetime. And the upper echelon, untouchable in name, remains tethered to reality only through the flow of information, the currency that never sleeps. In this invisible architecture, power is paradoxical. It is both diffuse and concentrated, fleeting and eternal. Influence is less about the position you hold and more about the knowledge you possess. And while the public imagines espionage as adrenaline-fueled chases and dramatic confrontations, the truth is a more cerebral battlefield, calm, meticulous, and relentlessly strategic. The real victories are silent, the real dangers unseen. As the camera pans over a dimly lit office stacked with reports, the glow of multiple monitors reflecting off polished mahogany, the voice of authority continues. Here, in this quiet theater of intellect, history is written not with guns or speeches, but with comprehension. The mind becomes the ultimate weapon, information the ultimate shield, and patience the ultimate form of power. And when the frame pulls back, revealing the sprawling, unmarked building silhouetted against a stormy night sky, it is clear the true architecture of influence is hidden in plain sight, measured not by what the world sees, but by what it never realizes has already been decided. In this shadowed realm, every decision echoes far beyond its walls, shaping history in ways most will never witness, and reminding us that true power is always unseen, yet undeniable. If you enjoyed this video, consider liking, subscribing, and leaving a comment. It genuinely helps support the time and effort that goes into creating these videos. Sharing it with someone who might find it interesting also makes a bigger difference than you might think. Thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next video.